Before we start, the purpose of this video is to walk you through some of the features of the Adria SGX 640, the 60-year anniversary edition of this camper van. This video will be useful, hopefully, to anybody considering purchasing this vehicle, or if they've got one on order. So it's going to be a little bit slow, but I have made some markers below so that you can actually skip to the areas that you might be interested in. But obviously we hope you watch the whole video, and if you do, thanks for that. And don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment, and I'll reply to any comments or questions that come through. So let's get off. Okay. So let's take a look in the engine compartment to begin with. So here we are. This is a completely different engine to the motorhome that we had before, the Pilot. Completely different engine. That was a 2.3 litre, and this is a 2.2, 2.1. Things are generally in a different place. So the engine oil here is quite easy to get to. There is just a cap there, which you don't want to drop down inside the vehicle. The windscreen wash is here, and I usually find out that it's easier to fill that with a small funnel, but it is reasonably accessible. And then obviously we've got the other fluids here, the brake fluids and the coolants and all that kind of thing. A couple of bits of plastic to remove there to actually get to it. So on this particular vehicle, the 60Y, the headlamps are just normal bulbs, they're not LED. So I think they've reduced the cost by not putting LED units in. These are just standard units. Further down we have turning lights and fog lights at the bottom, which are quite useful. How easy it is to get into here to change a bulb, I have no idea, but this side looks a little bit more accessible. Apart from that, there's nothing much else that a sort of a layperson can do, really. Oh, there's the dipstick. Yeah. So whilst I've got the bonnet up, or the hood up, whatever you want to call it, I've actually purchased a couple of these, which are the drain holes for the water that comes off the windscreen. And I'm going to leave a link. There's 3 of them. I'm going to leave a link in the description below, or in the information below, so that you can actually purchase these for yourself. They're just a 3D printed piece of plastic which slots in and prevents leaves and other things from going down into that drainage area. So this is a retractable step on the side of the habitation door. I'm finding that quite a lot of dirt gets onto this, and when it retracts inside, it tends to take it all back in again. So it is quite difficult to keep clean. So what I've done is I've installed some mud guards on here, which hopefully will prevent some of the dirt from the wheel from flying back onto the step, or the step mechanism when it's actually retracted. So on the 60Y anniversary edition, there's no plastic moulding around the wheel arch at the front, but there is at the back of the vehicle. So it makes it quite easy for those to be fitted. You don't have to remove the wheel arch. From a safety perspective, one of the things I do like about this vehicle is the size of the marker lights. down both sides of the vehicle. There are 3 regulation marker lights, and they are quite large and quite bright too. And the good thing is as well, they give a bit of ambient lighting when you're getting in and out of the vehicle, because if you change the settings you can actually light up the area outside the vehicle with them. Of course there is a light over the awning, or under the awning shall we say, by the door, and that is dimmable, so you can have it as bright or as dim as you need to. In real life it's much more smoother than that. And then going back on again. There's a light just inside the step here so you can see your way in. And then moving down the vehicle from the habitation door is the freshwater filler. Here is the high level brake light, and just under it is the reversing camera, which you can on the head unit have on full time as you're driving forward if you find that useful. This is a Thetford toilet, which I much prefer over the Dometic. This is quite a useful handle for pulling it along. A little further down is the electric hookup. So underneath the vehicle we have the wastewater outlet, the diesel heater, and also the gas heater. So I'll just give you a quick look underneath the vehicle. Not quite sure what you'll see there, but there's quite a lot going on. And it's one area that we generally don't tend to look at when we're buying a new vehicle. So this vehicle does not come with a spare wheel. So we purchased and had fitted a spare wheel. Now this is a wind down Fiat part, and there is the tyre and the wheel. And we had the dealer fit this because we didn't want to rely on one of the automatic tyre repair kits. I forgot to point out is that the habitation door will latch at halfway, which is quite useful. There's a fly screen to pull across. These can be a bit temperamental on most vans, to be fair, so it's always useful to do it with 2 hands. But there is a cable connecting the vehicle, electric cable connecting the vehicle and the door, just there, on view. So I don't know whether that's a standard feature of all camper vans. So let's have a look around the cab and start off at the doors. First of all, there's quite a few extra pockets on here than we have been used to on other models of the Fiat Ducato. There's a slot here which used to go all the way through, but it no longer does. It is essentially the handle for opening the door, or the place to hold it, and I found it quite useful. You can slot a mobile phone in here. There's a couple of slots here which are useful for maybe a pen or something like that, and there is another compartment here which will take a bottle, and further down at the bottom another compartment which sits inside the doorstep. So moving round, there's a light here which shows that the diesel heater is off or on. The usual controls for changing the beam on the headlights. And then we've got cruise control on this side, of the steering wheel and the volume controls and menu controls on this side. So this model hasn't got the digital screen, but it is still quite nice. Obviously this is automatic, so it's 8-speed automatic, and there's 3 different drive modes as well there, that you similar to what you will get on a car. This is the head unit fitted to this one. Bizarrely, it doesn't actually switch on unless the ignition's on. I don't know whether that's just how this has been wired or whether it's intentional. But essentially, there is a radio, a DAB, an FM radio. Navigation system is not built in, so you have to connect Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, and you can do that without using a cable, so that's really useful. That works over Bluetooth. There is a camera, a rear view camera, which can be left on at all times if you so desire, but it does come on when you select reverse. Then there's a voice control feature as well, which is quite useful. Favorites, and then your Bluetooth connection. Down here you've got USB, 2 types of USB, and the usual what I know as a cigarette lighter socket, a 12-volt DC socket as well. And then the area in here, which is air conditioned for putting cans in and that kind of thing. There are 2 USB cables in there as well, which you can use to connect to other devices for charging, or if you don't have the facility to connect with your mobile phone via Bluetooth, you can just plug in a cable. So over here we've got our new seat covers, which we quite like. They do fit really well, so I'll leave another link in the description below about these. So as you can see, there are 2 storage compartments just above the driver and the passenger. And then down the side we've got 2 large cupboards here and one over the kitchen. So as I said on a previous video, these are quite deep. Well, they do vary actually in depth depending on where they are in the vehicle, but they're quite dark inside, and this is like a new sort of product. It's a bit like polystyrene but a lot harder, and it obviously reduces sound, a vibration down and that kind of thing. But yeah, we do quite like the cupboards. They're just to push open. Strangely enough, where the TV bracket is fitted, and this is quite a small TV, it's only I think a 19-inch TV that we put in. If you put in a larger TV, it will hang over the edge here, which is potentially quite annoying. But what I have found is where the bracket is fitted, you can't open this cupboard without it catching the TV. So what you have to do, slide the TV across, and then you can get into the cupboard. Behind here in the corner is an area that can be pulled off, and that will give you access to the pre-wired aerial connection. It's also got the 12-volt supply in there for connecting the TV. So obviously these are the 2 belted seats in the back. We tend to not really use them that often. We tend to sit in the captain's seats and put our feet up across there. Particularly if you're in the passenger seat, you can do that quite easily. But I can reach, if I turn the driver's seat round, I can actually reach my feet across onto here. So we have actually put a different cover on here, but that's the upholstery on the 60Y, and it's sort of a mixture of cloth and leather. Very nicely done and very smart. It's only available in this one shade though, on the 60Y edition. So we purchased a little cover, non-slip cover, to fit over here in the kitchen, which just covers up the glass areas. I'll show you under there in a minute. Just here there is a mains socket and a control for lifting the bed up and bringing it back down again, which is quite useful. You don't have to go into the bedroom to do it. You can do it from here. And that's a reset in case there's any problems with the cutout on the bed. For example, it captures the cupboards or whatever. It cuts the motor out, and then you can reset it by pressing that button. Two little hooks here, which are obviously not coat hooks because they are directly over the sink. And then another cupboard up here. Not quite as deep as the cupboards on the other side, but still quite useful. They just push and click. So I'll take this off and let you have a look underneath. So on this side we have got a 2-burner oven, hob even, and on this side is the sink with the collapsible tap. Hot and cold water, and quite a hefty sink plug. So when we're travelling along, we do put a bit of packing underneath these because they are the one thing that can vibrate at times. So to facilitate that, I usually just have a little bit of packing underneath. A large cupboard. We've got our coffee machine stored in there, so you can see that's quite a reasonable size, and the shut-offs for the gas and etc. there. Obviously the sink's here, so there's no cupboard there, but this is the oven. It's a brand I'd not heard of before, CAN or CAN. So it's not a Thetford or anything like that, but it's very similar how it works. We do tend to take the shelf out because that vibrates as one travels along. A little bit of a strange thing here, I thought. Maximum and minimum for the oven and a grill control, but no temperatures. So I think maximum is around about 200 Celsius. But there's no gauge in between, so if you want it on 160 or 140 or whatever. But there is a saying that most things cook at about 180 degrees anyway. I forgot to say that the light under the kitchen is dimmable, so it is possible to dim it slightly and turn it off completely. These control panels are always quite difficult to film because of the reflection that you get on them, but hopefully you can see that. So the time's in the middle, the outside temperature, the inside temperature, the fact that the vehicle is or is not, it's not in this on this occasion connected to the mains. The outside awning light is off, and down here at the bottom showing whether the tanks, the freshwater tank and the waste tank has got any water in it, whether the pump's on or off. Yeah, so all that information is there. That's the main switch for the lights, although there are light switches around the vehicle. That is the Webasto heater, which only heats the space inside the vehicle. It doesn't heat up any water. It's just for the blown air heating. That's the settings button. That is the on-off switch for the water pump. That's the main panel on-off switch or standby switch. This one here gives an indication of both leisure and vehicle battery, what they're actually like. The leisure battery is underneath the passenger seat, and the vehicle battery is underneath the passenger footwell. Yes, I've got that right. Then there is a button here to show the water levels, the wastewater tank, the freshwater tank, and whether the water is being heated at this moment in time, which it's not, and then a return button. So you don't need to use these buttons necessarily, because if you click on here, you can scroll across through all the settings and turn them on and off as you require. Now you can connect to this via Bluetooth, or if you install a SIM card in the control unit via the internet, you can connect in from a mobile phone and turn the lights on, turn the heating on, turn the heating off, do all sorts of different things with it. One of the things that we're not really that keen on is this small handle for opening the door, for unlatching the door from the inside. It does feel a little bit flimsy, but I think that's the standard thing on most of these Ducatos. The actual handle is down here, which does feel quite low down, and when you come to close the vehicle door, it's a little bit clunky, but that's just something to live with. This is the back of the van open. You can see the bed there, and if I press this button just on this side, we can take it up and take it down. But in order to do that, it is necessary to fold in the edges of the mattress like that, because otherwise, and put the duvet in the middle, because otherwise down the centre part, because otherwise it's going to catch the cupboards at the top. Okay, so from inside the van you can see there's a gap down either side. The mattress is folded in and the bedding is just in the middle. From the other side, at the back of the van, it looks like this. So when I press the button now and take the bed up, it actually goes between the cupboards, which means that access to the cupboards can only be when the bed is down. But you've got a huge area in here for storing all sorts of things. And there's a switch here just above where the bed is operated from, and that will turn on two lights at the top, which again can be dimmable. Really good idea. Why would you want to dim them? Well, you may have pets under here. You just want to have a little bit of light but not have them on full. And then again, there is a 220 volt socket just there. A storage compartment at this side and a little one at this side as well. Storage compartments here, which are really good. And in here is the gas bottle. Now I guess you could have gas low fitted and have the filler on the outside. So what does the gas do? So the gas heats the water, the hot water, and it also provides the gas to the oven and to the hob. That's all it does. It doesn't operate the fridge. The fridge is just a compressor fridge and works off 12 volts or electric hookup if you have it connected. Two storage areas there side by side, and in this side is the freshwater tank. To empty the freshwater tank, it's just a case of taking that panel off and turning this screw here. Turn it half a turn and it leaves 25% in the tank. Turn it fully anti-clockwise and it will empty the tank. To fill the tank, turn it fully clockwise again and fill the tank up. I'll just lower the bed back down again so you can see that in operation. It's very smooth and very quick. There's a couple of buttons here, one for the lights underneath the bed, so you can turn them on and off from this end, and another which turns on the lights in the bedroom. Again, these can be dimmed, as you can see there. This is quite useful. Into the bathroom then. So there's a light switch down here that operates the light there. A window at the back, a cupboard here, and there's the shower. And to operate the shower we have a mat in the bottom because there's no ductboard, but we take this out if we're showering. It's just to stop it getting marked. Pull on that, swing that round and it locks in place at the opposite side like that, and then you've got quite a large shower area. The only thing I'll say about this is that on the SGX model, on this model, on the 60Y, the water will come down here and go over the toilet. I don't think that's a big problem because there is a runoff underneath. There are two plug holes under here, one in this corner right next to the toilet and one over here. So whichever way you are positioned, it's going to run out. There's a little storage area in the back of here, which I've not used the shower yet, so I'm not quite sure if that gets water in, how it runs out, but I'm sure it's okay. Obviously the controller for the hot and cold water. There are two pegs up here as well, and a pull down towel rail. Ventilation to let any steam out. On some of the Supreme models, this shower screen I believe doesn't come round quite as far, but there is a continuation of this panel going all the way down, so it tends to prevent the water from going that far over. But it is all sealed behind there, so I would imagine that if any water does flow round, it's just going to flow down onto the floor anyway. So the sink tilts slightly, which is quite good. But yes, it's quite a nice space really, and the fact that it's white inside as well. There's no shower curtain. There is just a door which pulls round like that. So you can pull that across, and that keeps any water from coming out of the area. It's quite a high toilet as well. We've discovered it's yeah, it's quite high off the ground. But yeah, there we do go. I put in a toilet roll holder. It's just a cling sticky thing on there. Whether it's in the right place for having a shower or the wrong place, I don't know. But obviously you'd have to take the toilet roll off when you were having a shower, otherwise it'd get wet. But there wasn't really another place to put it without sort of screwing into the wall, which obviously I didn't want to do. So the battery, the leisure battery for the vehicle, is actually underneath the passenger seat, and there is space. I don't know whether you can see there, but there is space for another battery beside it. So that's the leisure battery there. And underneath the driver's seat, I always find these a bit difficult to open one-handed, is the rest of the charging equipment and the fuses. So I'm just checking on my laptop to see if there was any other things that I needed to mention. So what's it like in operation? So, well, it's completely different to a coach built with the automatic gearbox. The 8-speed automatic gearbox is really good. So that's very impressive. The bed is great. It's very comfortable. The mattress is great. The sleeping location, getting in and out of bed during the night is quite easy. The kitchen's a lot narrower in a way than it was in the coach built motorhome. No temperatures on the oven. Again, we'll see how that goes. The washroom appears to be quite large, but it is quite narrow between the tambour door and the sink to get to the toilet without putting a finer point on it. The space in the shower we'll obviously test out later on. Obviously, if you're completely off-grid for a number of days, it's probably worth having a solar panel fitted, but the price point on this, there is no solar panel and no TV aerial. That doesn't bother us unduly at the moment. We've found out that the battery holds enough power for the 2 or 3 days that we're potentially going to be off-grid at any one time, and we tend to stream a lot of things anyway to watch on TV rather than actually watching them through a terrestrial aerial. So we had one very successful night away to test the vehicle out. We're back home now, so thanks for watching this video, and if you've got any questions then please be sure to put them below and I will answer every question or query or comment. If you've liked the video and you've got this far with us, then I know it's been a bit of a slow burner, but for some people who maybe are looking to purchase this vehicle in the future, hopefully some of the points that I've mentioned will be of interest or of help. So yes, be sure to subscribe for future videos when we'll be out and about a lot more, as we were in the previous vehicle in the Pilot. And yeah, drop us a message and like and subscribe as normal. So as they say, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.